My name is Olivia. My husband Josh works as a section manager at a major corporation, and I incorporated the company I founded when I was young and now serve as its president. So, both of us had fairly high incomes and our lives were stable. We had discussed wanting to have children within the next 2 to 3 years if possible, because my husband and I got married when we were both 30 years old. However, like a gift from above, children do not come easily to our marriage. I patiently waited, but as I became anxious, I decided to visit the obstetrics and gynecology department. As a result, the doctor said that natural pregnancy may be difficult. When I talked with him about the result, "Well, I see. I guess there's nothing I can do about it." Just say it, and the conversation just finished. Originally, we were not the type to interfere with each other, but when it comes to our children, it's a matter for both husband and wife, and yet it's too cold. I thought so, but since there is a possibility that the cause of infertility is on my side, I couldn't say it too strongly. After living with a subtle distance between us for a while, the husband made this proposal. "How about moving soon? This apartment is nice, but why not build a big house on a spacious land? It would be a fresh start and, well, we might even have children." After hearing that, I thought to myself, that's true. It doesn't mean I can get pregnant if I keep moping and brooding like this, and even if we build a house, our income is sufficient, so there's nothing to worry about. So, I decided to go along with my husband's idea. I heard that a well-located property was being sold at a good time and we purchased it immediately. The house was being built steadily according to the plan, as my husband had strong preferences and delegated some decisions to him. And then, a year and a half later, our home was built on a vast piece of land along the sea. It feels strange to use this expression since it's my own house, but it's what you would call a mansion. It was the husband's insistence to have famous architects and luxury furniture, and the total amount of the loan reaches a staggering $300 million. However, my husband is a section chief at a large corporation and I own a business corporation. The loan was easily approved and the monthly payments were not significant when shared between the two of us. I was excited about starting my new life. However, as soon as they built the house, he suddenly changed drastically. The situation quickly escalated from here. It's good that a big new house was built, but I feel like he has less time to spend in this nice home. The reason is that recently there has been an increase in company-related drinking parties, overtime work, working on holidays, and entertaining clients on holidays. This week, I have drinking plans on Friday and Saturday for the weekend, and I have a business golf event on Sunday. I probably won't be able to go home much because I think there will be another business engagement around the middle of next week. While looking at the schedule on his smartphone, he was grumbling about such things. However, although what he was saying appears negative, his face was cracking into a happy smile. I felt a contradiction. Perhaps this person is doing something behind my back. Lately, the amount of time we spend together has decreased, and since building our new house, my husband has been valuing his privacy and avoiding being approached by me. Since we've also ended up with separate rooms, I have even less idea of what my husband is doing. That was fueling my anxiety more and more, causing me to think about unnecessary things. Yes, it's a suspicion of my husband's infidelity. It's as if he changed his perfume, a strong smell that I couldn't imagine coming from him. And there are more gifts from female juniors. This alone cannot be used to determine infidelity, but it is certainly a gray area. So, I decided to conduct an investigation. Since my friend works at a detective agency, I'll go talk to them about my problem for now. There were some things that hinted at infidelity, but because none of them were credible, I was prepared to be turned away honestly. However, the detective asserted that this pattern usually indicates infidelity. The professional in that field is saying this, there is no doubt about it. I requested that if my husband is cheating, I want to capture any evidence by any means necessary. I haven't really thought about what to do with the evidence I gather, but ideally, I want to get back to the way it was. However, things did not go so smoothly.
I'm sorry, but I just can't see a future with you. I want children, but because of your infertility it would be difficult to have a child, and even building a house wouldn't distract me enough from that fact. It's just not possible.
Despite saying so, my husband introduced me to a woman I didn't know. A beautiful woman who exudes the same scent as the perfume recently smelled from my husband, and has a neat atmosphere with black semi-long hair. Wearing matching earrings with him, it is without a doubt that she is the cheating partner. Actually, I had received a report with photos of this woman from a detective, right after it was confirmed that my husband was having an affair. I never imagined that I would meet the woman so soon and in this way, so I am at a loss for words. However, the woman who was having an affair with him let out a big sigh and then looked at me with eyes that seemed to be looking at garbage and said this.
I heard your wife was running a company, so I thought she might be a successful career woman, but it turns out she's just an ordinary middle-aged woman with wrinkles on her face. How pitiful.
Despite its elegant appearance, it is hard to imagine the vulgar language that comes out of it. And it pierced my heart and dug in deep. When I listened well, I found out that she wasn't someone from the company, but rather a hostess. Moreover, she seems to self-proclaim herself as the #1 at her hostess bar. She had a clean look, but I realized that people cannot be judged solely by their appearance. Anyway, that doesn't matter. The problem is that my husband is reopening about his infidelity and deliberately introduced me to the other person. And she, while knowing that he was already married, continued to have a relationship with him and still maintains this arrogant attitude towards me. I also had the desire to retort an insult, and the words were rising up to the tip of my tongue. But for some reason, I can't say it out loud. Surely, I must be caught in a state of confusion, unable to keep up with their thoughts due to the sudden event. And then, taking advantage of my silence, my husband and his mistress spoke freely without restraint.
If an old hag like this has no ability other than making money and can't even conceive naturally, then there's no choice but to abandon her after all. I see. And besides, there's a cute baby in my belly.
The two looked close and affectionate, but to their surprise, the woman was actually pregnant. Although her belly wasn't very noticeable yet, it didn't seem like it had been many weeks, and there were no signs of morning sickness, so it wouldn't be surprising if they had entered the stable period.
I understood that my husband's deliberate introduction of his affair partner to me was a way of taking revenge on me for not being able to get pregnant.
At that moment, the words that had been stuck in my throat finally came out. I understand your feelings. After all, it's not enough for you to just get divorced, so they look down on me and enjoy it, right? Honestly, the word bad personality is not enough to describe you. When they said that, the two of them looked at each other and burst out laughing. My husband and the woman laughed looking at me. I felt so uncomfortable because there is nothing to laugh about at this time.
Ha ha ha. What, you're just making excuses for losing? That's right, your interpretation is correct. You put a divorce mark on my family registry, it's only natural, don't you think? Well, that's not enough, so I'll give you another present.
I was wondering what was happening when my mother-in-law suddenly came into my house for some reason. I just heard from him that his mother was recently diagnosed with dementia. I heard that she was about returning her driver's license, selling the car, and the fact that the father-in-law had already passed away, so he didn't know what to do for her. I had a bad feeling. Then, his cheating partner said this.
I am still young, so I don't have time to take care of this grandma. Besides, I am pregnant and carrying the responsibility for the future. Taking care of an old lady like this is impossible, so you should take care of her.
The woman who was the mistress, or rather Mia, pushed the bewildered mother-in-law towards me. Judging from the fact that my mother-in-law's face has turned pale, it's likely that my husband said something terrible to her on the way here. As expected, my husband spoke as if it was someone else's problem.
I can't make a cute girl like Mia deal with old woman's filth, and I'm sorry, but I won't take care of this old woman either. Well, I don't want her to call me if she does something wrong while she stays home alone. I won't take care of the old fool. Take care of her yourself.
As soon as he said that, my husband and his cheating partner swiftly left the house. Did he secretly prepare for the move already? The next day, the moving company packed up his belongings onto a truck and went somewhere. All that was left was a single divorce paper. I was tempted to tear it up in anger when I saw it, but I managed to hold myself back. If I make a mistake while writing or even crumple it up, you will be forced to plead with that detestable husband once again to write a divorce document and send it to him. I don't want to experience such humiliation. So I carefully signed the divorce papers and submitted them to the government office. I am living with his mother in that 300 million yen house, although technically speaking she is not my real mother. Although they say she has dementia, she is still in the early stages, so she remembers some things to a certain extent. So, it seems that being called a senile old woman by her husband was quite a shock for her, and she hasn't been eating properly for the past few days. Because I was genuinely worried, I managed to persuade her to have at least a bowl of rice porridge, just to have something to eat. After living like that for 2 or 3 weeks, I came up with an idea. In the first place, there was no need to live with his mother in such a large house and continue to pay the mortgage. I will take an action immediately. I had just started paying off the mortgage for my house, but I was already thinking about demolishing it and asked an acquaintance who works in demolition to do it. I have no interest in the mysterious figurines or furniture left behind by my ex-husband. When I said it was okay to take everything they wanted during the demolition, my acquaintance they replied that they would take on the task. And the 300 million house, which had been built less than a year ago, disappeared completely, leaving the site back to its original state. But somehow, I felt relieved that I was able to completely shatter all the memories with my ex-husband. Well, there's still plenty to do. I have to make my ex-husband suffer the punishment for the ill treatment that he gave his mother from now on. After some time had passed, the ex-husband persistently called me multiple times, to the point of being annoying. I thought it was kind of funny that he had called in a rage about that thing, but I tightened my composure and answered the phone without showing any expression or attitude.
What do you want? We're already strangers, you know.
When I say something like that, my ex-husband would quickly say this.
You. Such an idiot. You changed the name on the loan? Have you finally gone mad? And what's with the claim for consolation money? It's too late for that now. There's no way I can afford to pay that much for the loan every month, so take it back right now. Besides, I still have to pay for the loan on the house that I built with Mia.
It was surprising that he built a house with Mia without saying anything, but that's none of my business. In fact, yesterday I completed the procedures for changing the name on the loan and sent a notification regarding compensation for infidelity as a certified mail. The ex-husband who saw it was understandably furious and called in anger as expected. However, I said it with a calm expression.
No, it was you who suggested building a house in the first place, and you're the one whose name is on the land title, right? I'm already doing my best taking care of your mother, so why don't you pay the remaining loan yourself? Oh, and don't forget to pay the property tax as the land title holder.
Perhaps not liking the condescending tone, the sound of her ex-husband punching the wall echoed through the phone and a faint tremble could be heard in Mia's voice. This person's flaw of not being able to control their emotions when angry has remained unchanged since the time we were dating. I regret not realizing my ex-husband's true nature sooner and breaking up with him before getting married. Still, being able to get divorced is better than the alternative.
Oh, by the way, about your mother, she said you raised your hand against her, right? I don't know if she's mistaken and thinks she forgets everything because she's been diagnosed with dementia, but I went to the hospital with her to have her injuries checked and got a diagnosis report written.
He doesn't understand the true meaning behind those words of mine. I decided to quietly explain because he was exerting a silent pressure that seemed to say so what.
Well, you see, it seems that your mother-in-law inherited a considerable amount from her own parents' estate, separate from your father-in-law's inheritance. She had apparently been saving it for you, but now she refuses to give it up. She has even gone to the family court with a medical report to have you removed as an heir so that you cannot even claim your legal share of the inheritance. It's a shame ignorance can be scary.
Then the ex-husband raised his voice in surprise and said, "Huh?" When I asked, I learned that he knew about the inheritance and was aware that his mother's family was wealthy, so they had expected that she had assets. So it seems that he was planning to push the responsibility of taking care of her onto me and then suddenly appear after her passing to take away the inheritance. However, it has become a dream that can no longer be realized. By this point, losing the hope of money, he was at a loss for words.
No, can't that be cancelled or something? It's unbelievable that I, as her son, can't inherit my mother's legacy. And on top of that, we were just enjoying our Hawaii trip until a moment ago, so I feel terrible about this.
You're talking nonsense, but I don't give a damn. Considering she doesn't even understand how risky it is for a pregnant woman like Mia to travel overseas, it makes me think it's really a good thing that I didn't conceive a child with this man. Anyway, I thought that further discussion would be fruitless and hung up the phone. Before cutting ties, I made it clear that I will not respond to any personal communication with him in the future, and after that I blocked his calls. So I might receive a message from him, but it's not important. However, my ex-husband ignored the claim for damages even at this point. Of course, I told Mia to send a certified letter with the details and pay the compensation immediately, but she remains silent as well. It seems like they're trying to get away from me, but I'm not letting them off the hook that easily. I have posted notices in their workplaces informing people who ignore even reminders to take action regarding their responsibilities. My ex-husband, of course, works for a large company where he has been employed for some time. Through detective investigation, it was discovered that Mia had apparently gone from working at a hostess bar to a part-time job at a regular company. In fact, this attack seems to have had an effect on both of them, as the ex-husband finally began to apologize me and ask for forgiveness.
Because of what you said to the company, everything was exposed and I was embarrassed. Mia is also lamenting that she doesn't want to go to work anymore because of this, just when she had finally gotten used to her new job. What am I supposed to do?
No matter what he does, if he had just paid as he should have, it wouldn't have turned out to be a big deal. It's his own fault. I also asked if Mia's savings were from her time as a hostess, because she claimed to be the #1 hostess at the time. And then, to my surprise, I discovered an unexpected fact. The claim of being #1 was a lie. It was just at the level of making some money. Moreover, I had been delinquent on my resident taxes for years, and the amount of overdue taxes I owe is crazy. On top of that, I have a $300 million loan to pay off, so I can't handle any more than this. I can't believe it was all a lie, and on top of that there were also unpaid bills. My ex-husband is truly in a very difficult situation. However, considering what he did to me and the pain of his mother, it remains certain that he deserves to be punished.
Oh, I see. But isn't that a problem between the two of you? I'm not charging an unreasonable amount, and if you two don't pay, you'll just be subject to forced execution.
I simply said that and hung up the phone, then went to change the phone number. I reported to his mother that with this, I no longer had to worry about receiving personal phone calls from my ex-husband again and that this had brought some closure. Then, she bowed her head and apologized for her son causing such a great trouble. Even she is a victim. When I think about it, my heart aches because my parents passed away early. Afterwards, the two of them borrowed money to pay me compensation. It seems that this was the final blow, and they have now fallen to a level of life that is irrecoverable. It seems that the two of them had a fight and broke up, and Mia went back to her parents' house. And so she was severely scolded by her parents and, unable to provide proper care, had to decide whether to give her child up for adoption or raise her as her parents' own adopted child. Mia does not have the luxury or the right to choose. So she reluctantly agreed to a special adoption between my child and my own parents, which legally severed the parent-child relationship. And now it seems that she is haunted by debts, including overdue taxes, and works late every night. I have heard that even my ex-husband is struggling to balance work and debt repayment and is looked down upon by those around him. However, it seems that his mental state has affected their work, causing him to make frequent mistakes, and they were recently transferred to a distant branch as a form of punishment. It's ridiculous that even though he bragged about working for a big company, he was easily demoted and transferred to another position. It seems that he sold the house he built with Mia and lost everything, carrying several million yen in remaining loans from the difference. Furthermore, it seems that he told the parents of Mia that he would pay child support, but they refused the money and told him never to come near the child again. It was not the time to take a leisurely trip to Hawaii, just the two of them. I couldn't find any part that could defend my ex-husband, and I thought to myself that a person who falls will continue to fall further. On the other hand, after the divorce, I lived alone in a small apartment for a while. I am already in my late 30s and not young anymore, so I don't think I want to get remarried. However, there was still some lingering attachment to the child. At that time, my sister was struck by the misfortune of losing her husband while she was pregnant. Given the circumstances, I have decided to live with my only living relative, my sister, and support her as much as possible. My sister safely gave birth and a cute baby girl has arrived in our home. I am currently supporting my hardworking sister as she raises her child, and spending my days with my adorable niece.